Alrighty. Well, I'm back. I've been gone for a little while trying to finish up a degree. Finally got that homework in, John. Oh my God.
You sound like you go through a lot of, I took classes at conventional schools, and, basically you just went to class, took notes, and came back and regurgitated on a test or a final or did a paper. It sounds like you guys are doing a lot more stuff.
Well, online, believe it or not, is harder than in the classroom because you don't have that one-on-one all the time. If you want to talk to a tutor, you have to call in and wait to get somebody, or you got to email them. And then if you turn in an essay and they don't like it, they kick it out like they did with my last. I was at the last course, ecology, which I was like, what the heck is ecology? It was an elective. I picked it thinking I was going to pick something easy, and that thing damn near made me grow a head of hair.
That would be a feat. Yeah.
I was like a chia pet. I was stuck in the room with the book so much, I come out, I had a little afro.
I just know, what's your degree going to be in, though?
Well, this is Bachelor of Business, so I may come in and take over allpointstv.com.
If you can make a profit off it, you're welcome to it. But, if just throw me some cash here and there.
Right. I'll be the man and you'll be the boss number 2. I'll be the boss number 1. Anyways, so so much stuff been going on in the world, in the city, that sometimes you see the news and you read what's online and everything, you just get fed up with it. It's like, I just want to say something. And I don't even know. Half the time the stuff comes out, you just be scratching your head like, what the hell? What? How did that happen? So, when you think of Subway, that was the craziest thing. I'm thinking, I know they got the wrong person. They made a mistake. When they said Jared and child pornography, I was like, what?
And that was kind of surprising. I mean, he was a success story. I mean, I kind of look up to the guy because he came up with a simple formula for losing weight. And it was like 19 years ago, 19 years ago.
He kept it off. He like 17, 18 years, he kept it off.
Yeah.
But then his partner brings him the stuff to see it, and nobody takes it off the computer. And then they get busted with it. Now he comes out with a hoodie on, like, we already know who you are. What's the purpose of hoodie?
I wonder if when he's in prison, is he going to put the weight back on? Or
you know it. He's going to be like OJ. OJ gained 50 pounds, and I saw him on the show Jailed when he got picked up in Las Vegas, and he was saying, oh yeah, prison food, I done gained 50 pounds. He rolled up in there.
He must be like, really consuming a lot of food, because
it's a lot of starch. When you see the slop that they feed you, I mean, He said prison food ate him up. So now Jared, he's not going to be getting any Subways anymore.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I guess he actually did have sex with an underage girl or something like that too. Underage. And, I don't know how underage. I mean,
I don't know either. But it just sickens me. I can't even talk. It just sickens me when people do stuff like that, because here he is with a wife and kids. Now she's like, we're done. She already filed for divorce. She's taking the kids and she running. I mean, like, if you're going to be doing all that stuff, were you looking at internet porn when my kids were in the house with you, or what? Yeah, when did all this stuff happen? Because were you out working, or did he have another job?
To my knowledge, he got paid pretty well probably for that, so they probably didn't have to really need one.
Well, yeah, but, I guess he need one now, don't he?
I can't say he's mighty. I mean, he's not a hero to me, but he was somebody I think had some effort in his life. He took some effort, and if he hadn't done this, he would have lived a bland life. But I mean, he would have been. Everybody remembered the weight loss.
Yeah.
And,
well, he had just started coming back out with the new commercial about him and the big guy, and he kept the weight off, and then he got married, 2 kids, and he said, "This is my story." And now this is his story, but it's not quite the one that he was talking about. I was just in shock because when I think of that, I was just like, what?
And he seemed like such a decent, just normal person. I mean, and the thing is, I think people are caught up with the pornography stuff. I mean, I don't know how to justify the underage part, the pedophilia stuff or whatever, but most people do. I mean, nowadays, I think 75% of the internet content is comprised of porn. Still, I mean, years ago when it first started, it was like 95%. I mean, and that's just a rough estimate. It's dropped down that much, but I mean, it's out there. It's easy to get into. It's
yeah.
There's no checks or balances or anything else. And I guess child porn's out there. I mean, I don't even know why people would want to go seek that out because.
You're just waiting to get caught. You waiting to get caught by an undercover cop. That's what you're doing.
And there's so many people ensnared with this stuff. I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. It's like you must know that there are cops watching, monitoring, the internet, Facebook, all that stuff. And just cause you delete it off your computer, it is not gone. They need to know that. Yeah. You would think, as in that kind of thing, they would know that. They just get reckless and greedy.
Well, would see within that week of Jared getting busted, Gene Simmons had somebody at his house using it, and I knew I knew it
wasn't him.
I knew it wasn't Gene. I mean, Gene's kind of a, let's face it, he's, he was a wild man in his earlier years.
But when it comes to his family, like especially his daughter, he's very protective of that.
Yeah.
So when he was out of town on tour when this happened, and somebody in his household, well, probably some of his management or whatever, got busted, and they went in there and took some stuff out of his house, and Shannon was tweeting how horrible it was, and I'm like, you're right, and I know he probably had a fit because he was gone when it happened.
Yeah, it's like somebody, you come home, somebody's actually doing somebody in your bed,
right, in your office, like 3 little bears or something. Let's hit every bed, and then of course there's probably pictures somewhere.
Right.
That would be the thing I'd be afraid of, is there'd be like pictures somewhere, they gonna come out later, and now everybody gonna see it. And I know his kids are probably not worried about it being him because he wasn't there, but it's just the fact of who you let into your circle.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I mean, could you imagine, another thing is too, like in Hollywood, you and I have friends, everybody has friends or a friend maybe that pretty much if you have to do something, you have to go somewhere, you got somebody you could trust. I mean,
right.
Usually they're pretty good about things, but I mean, when you're in Hollywood, no matter what kind of scrutiny you put on these people, you're hiring them, and they have to pass muster that way. But then God knows what they're going to do once they get they gained your trust because they went through that gateway.
Right.
And I feel kind of bad for them because I mean, everybody's after, they're going to be using them, or they're going to get them embroiled in something they had nothing to do with, and it's going to smear their name.
Yeah, that's the bad part, when your name gets put in something and you like, what? I knew he probably flew home right away and just raised all kind of hell, because I'd be like, where is that person? Because I'm getting ready to mess him up. Y'all better hold me back.
Yeah, I just couldn't imagine. As soon as I heard that, I just had a hard time. And when they said, he wasn't suspected by, the governmental agency doing the investigation, he wasn't a suspect. It was just at his house because he was gone.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, but there are good people out there who get roiled up in something. I mean, they just have this addiction. I guess it's a form of addiction,
It must be. I don't understand it. But so now when I think about, we got our water bills lowered.
Do you expect to see any real refunds? I don't. I think just going to say.
Val Washington said right now we won't get anything because the city doesn't have that kind of money laying around. And it's like, well, we already knew that. We just want the bills lowered. But then on the other hand, okay, we get our bills lowered. Are we going to have good quality water? Because they got this other group came in with 26,000 signatures. And they want to, revert back to Detroit water, because the water quality, they were saying something about the difference when it hits from the river to the source to your pipes in your house, and I'm still, upset about it. It's like the water bill is one thing, but the quality of the water is another. We have to have the water.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it on my Facebook page. I was just over by Stewart one day, and that's right by where the water plant is, and there was this brownish, sludgy discharge coming right out of the plant.
See?
And it's out there. I mean, and I showed that, and somebody told my friend, he said, that happens all the time. You come here at night and get some kind of camera with a big light on it, you can see it. It's always out there. It's like blackish, brownish, and that's coming right out of the water plant. That's the crap they're taking out, and they're releasing it right back in the river.
Or it's going back and it's going into the soil and stuff, you know. I don't understand. I still just can't understand why they felt the need to just pull the plug on what was working and try to jump the gun to save some money, and they still got a year to go.
My simple solution, the reason why that happened is because they got tired of the governmental corruption in Detroit. Basically, we were supporting their flawed system. We were picking up the tab for the ineptitude of those people down there, and we were forced to face more, hand over money. Well, it wasn't good. The water here in the Flint River it's concentratedly, all the stuff that's in there is concentrated in a smaller area, whereas the stuff they get from Lake Huron, the particles and all the other crap they have to filter out, just basically it's a bigger area to spread out, and they don't get as much to be processed as it does here in the Flint River.
Well, that's why they said it's cheaper to process the water from the lake than it is from a river. So if you know that, why would you jump the gun? Because by going from, Detroit to our little old nasty river, you're going to have to add a lot of chemicals. You're going to have to change the way the system runs. So they supposedly put those filters on the water. So what did the filters do? Did they get them all in, or what's the process? Because people are still having the same problems with the water. Some people still have brown water. Some people still have stinky water. Some people, what? And the city is not any of the people that's giving out the water.
Right.
They just won't do it because they will admit that they did wrong. So anybody that gets free water, it's the churches, it's groups of people, the citizens and stuff doing it, where the city should be held responsible for it.
Well, see, another thing is, on the larger scale, I'd like to know what the hell our federal government does. They take our money from us, and they allocate it and they're supposed to get so much money back from them. And maybe we put a drain on it because, so many people unemployed, so many people on the benefits, for like bridge card and all that stuff. But because a portion of that does come from the federal government. But we're spending so much money to build up the infrastructure of Afghanistan, Iraq, and all these other countries. One country, we're giving $11 million per day, Israel. And
now, who prints that kind of money if they can't print any for us?
I mean, it's like, if they're going to be printing up, they might as well print some extra for us.
Exactly.
It's about as worthless as it is anyway.
You gotta take care of home first, and that's something they don't do. I don't understand when they keep saying we don't have money, but you gotta press. You own a printing press,
right?
So why don't we have money? If I had a printing press, I'd have money every day. What the hell? What you mean we don't have money?
It's like, you obviously have no problem printing it out whenever you want to give some money to another country.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have no more problem doing that. But for our own people, within our own boundaries,
we don't have any money.
Yeah, we don't have money for that. Why don't you just run off? I'll tell you what. Give me the mimeograph. I'll run off a few million.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll get a big.
Give me the plates. I'll do it.
I got friends that help us. We might dip into it a few of ourselves, but
all that's misprinted. We have to do something with it, so we might as well wash it up and keep it.
It's like, by the way, we are joking. We don't want the Secret Service on our butts, but
no Secret Service. We are joking.
We should be drawn, but and I'd say we should add a local flavor. We should put a picture of, say, some former past mayors, like maybe Floyd McCree on one, and instead of
and see how many people will take them and just don't even look at it. Be like, oh, $1. I could see people doing that just for the sake of doing it, because at first, they were printing out 20s left and right. They just had some $100 bills like a few years ago that was going around to yard sales, and then somebody just this past summer got caught with some 20s like that at yard sales. They go in and buy $1 or something and then get real change back.
My friend, his friend came over and said, "Hey man, let's go out to eat. I found a $100 bill." It was like 10, 12, about 15 years ago. So they went up to this local restaurant and they ate their meal, and they thought it was a real $100 bill. Well, they gave it to payment, and they came back and they knew it was something kind of hinky about it, or funny about it. So, and the cops came and stuff, and basically they believed them. They said, we found it in a park, and and they were released. They didn't even, they didn't make a big deal about it. But it's Flint area in southeast Michigan is a very bad area for counterfeit bills. I mean, and it's been going on since the late 70s, early 80s. I remember hearing about this. There was a party store over not too far from where you lived at, back in the mid 80s, got busted for being a center for, counterfeit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of those places, they was doing that when they first made the new money. People were, I guess, hitting places left and right, and who knows, they turn it in and wash it, make it real or whatever. I don't know.
It's like, they got such ingenious plans for that. If they actually just turned it towards legitimate practices, they could have made them men anyway. No pun intended. But, I mean, these people go through. I mean, they got this down to a science. I went, why don't you? I got friends who do that when I was in junior high. I used to do that with weed. You used to be able to parlay something into a big amount of weed and make a big buck. So, could you imagine what you'd do if you actually had somebody giving you capital? You'd have a big corporation.
Well, we have a corporation called city government, and they can't get our water right. I'd rather have better water than lights.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's
if I had my druthers, they say, okay, you can give up your consumers, your cable, or your water. Which one would you keep?
I'd keep my water.
I keep my water. So I want my water to be on point because you got a shower in it.
Right.
You can drink bottled water, but you can only do so much with bottled water. It's like I can get in the shower with bottled water. I can't wash my clothes in bottled water. So it's just one of those things. And people are saying, they get in the water to drink. Like I had to put bottled water in my goldfish tank because it almost killed my goldfish. But people's dogs are dying and getting sick and stuff. It seemed like a mass slaughter or something. It's like he want them all to drink the Kool-Aid.
It does seem like they don't give a rat's butt,
I don't think they do, because how can so many people complain and then yet they still find a reason not to do it?
That's government inaction.
And then when Walling says, oh, sure, Lesa, my family drink it every day, and I'm sure it's safe, And I told him, I said, I know you don't drink it. You probably don't cook it. You probably got the best filtering system in your house. He was like, oh, no, we drink it every day. I almost said, well, can I come over and watch y'all drink some?
Well, he lives in the East Village area, so they've always got everything that goes wrong in the city, they're kind of exempted from. I mean, everything they want, they get. Well, and I'm not picking on them. It's the truth.
But the thing is, don't get up and lie about how good the water is if your water is better than everybody else's. But when you come to those meetings downtown, everybody has bottled water in front of them. So now did Flint start bottling its own water or what? Y'all know that's bottled water you bought at Kroger or somewhere.
And the thing, a lot of that stuff you're buying from a store, I mean, it's coming from a source that's not all that much better than what we got.
Well,
there's no real regulation
depends
on that.
Which ones, because some of the ones, if you freeze them, you get floated, like the generic brands. I don't drink anything but Dasani, and I had some generic brand one time and I froze it, and when I unthawed it, I had all kind of floaties in the bottom. I was like, that won't happen again.
You see, my grandparents used to have an artesian well out in Clio when they lived on Clio, and that water, it's cold it's cold right out of the tap, and it was pure. God, and now I'm getting nostalgic, but I mean, it's like especially we take water for granted.
I know it makes you want some good water. Right now, I'm thirsty because I want some good water, but I've never drank tap water anyway since I've been in Michigan, and then when I came to Flint, I didn't drink. Because down south the water tastes better out the tap, and we could have ice and stuff. Like I don't even have ice cubes anymore because of the water. I always would buy a bag of ice, and I've never drank water out the tap. I don't even put on my flowers anymore. I put bottled water on my flowers and bottled water. Like in the yard, I'll spray the yard or whatever. But I mean, it's crazy that they shouldn't pay us, and then they're like trying to appeal so that they have to pay us, and it's like, well, class action, we'll all probably get $2.50 about 20 years from now. But my point is, my bill right now, after they recalculate 35% off and then take that $53 off that service fee, I should be paying about $10 a month.
My grandfather, my mom's dad, this was in the 60s, made a big deal about the water, and that wasn't a big deal back then because the infrastructure's still in place. We got a sufficient tax base back then, and people thought he was nuts. And he ran actually for city councilman back 66, 68, something like that. I think he only got 7 votes. He was kind of an odd person. I mean, he was my own grandfather, but he was an odd person. But one of the congressmen, I think it was one of Kildee or something like that, he actually said he saw things way out. The problem's going to be developing way out before everybody else did. And he brought this up. He said about the water's going to be, he said, well, they got to keep on replacing the structures. And they had done that instead of building these projects like, we can concentrate on those, haphazard things we did downtown.
Let's build that parking lot that nobody uses and pay $6 million for it.
Right, and if we'd have done, if we had done this back when the money was still coming in more, replacing sections of the infrastructure like the sewer. We
Every
did a little bit of
time
that.
something break, they just patch it like right here, instead of going the full mile or whatever.
Yeah, so they should have done that more when they had the money, and it's just because money used to flow in, and back then there was a lot of corruption going on, a lot of payola going on, but there's so much money they just there was just blurred it
because
together.
the shops were here too. They were big money makers. They were people that it was so many more people here, so many shops with money, and then Flint had all this money, and they had all the corrupt people, and then they started suing people, and they was paying them, and people didn't hear about it. So a lot of the money went into lawsuits. Like they said, they took money from the water department to pay off a lawsuit. Yeah. I mean, who does that? They probably hoped that would never have come out. So somebody busted them out about that.
Well, look at the Genesee Towers building. I mean, that was when Williamson was office as mayor. The city lawyers basically did something illegal, and we had to actually end up paying the owner of the towers, and we were all paying for that.
Well, I worked there in the 80s when I first moved to Flint. That was one of the first temporary jobs I had in the towers, and I was looking at it like, what is different about this? It's like parking lot, office. It was just like strange architecture.
It was like, actually, I never did like it. And, I've been down there hundreds of times now since it's been down, and I don't miss it. I don't.
You don't even really notice it's gone, because I was telling somebody the other day that they had turned that into a little green space, and they were like, oh, for real? And I was like, yeah. They said, well, they're not even done yet. I'm like, yeah, they are. It's grassed over and everything. It's a little park bench or whatever. They were surprised that they hadn't even missed it. There was a big old hole in the ground, and they didn't miss it.
It took like 2 years when they pull through the crap and stuff and get that all parted out into some landfill, but I think it looks better with it. I never did like the quality of it. I mean, the look. I liked the 18th floor where they had the University Club. That was a stellar restaurant.
Well, we had my 10-year anniversary up there, and then I think we had my 10-year anniversary. It was like 10 and 20, 30 year up there then, and then after that they everything left, because it used to be the radio station in there. It used to be the bank was the biggest lease at the bottom. And it was a temporary service in there that I worked for. We ran the office, and there was a lot of stuff. Arthur Lou Lancaster's office was in there. She was a judge. Her office was in there. There was a lot of people in there. And then it just started emptying out. People started moving out to plazas and different things like that, because there's never good parking down there.
No, see, I brought that up too, and they put the new farmers market downtown. Yeah. I talked to the market manager in an interview, and I said, don't do this, because I have issues because parking is going to be a premium, and people are not going to be able to park, and they're just going to move on. And he tried to tell me that wasn't the cause of Flint's demise, downtown Flint's demise back in the 70s, and I know full well it was. I was out of diapers. I used to hear people complaining about having to pay for parking or not be able to find a parking spot. And actually, my fears have actually been realized to some degree that they do have a lot of parking problems on there.
That's why I don't like going down there. Like, I've never been in Blackstone's restaurant because there's nowhere to park. When I go down there, I got to park a block away and walk. And then, mostly anywhere down there, unless you first thing in the morning, it's hard to find a spot. You ride around in circles forever trying to find a spot.
Works your appetite up, though, see?
I know, but by the time you get there, it's like, now the place is so full, you can't get in.
Well, you go down there, and of course, more at the evening, I've seen open spaces right in front of it, but if they go 2 or 3 times and they can't find a spot, people are not going to be that diligent. They're just going to say, screw it, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Because people, especially people with mobility problems, it's hard to find a place that you don't have to walk a block, or if you on with a cane or wheelchair or whatever, the sidewalks are kind of lumpy. You can't ride in the street down there like they walking through the street in the city. You get hit on Saginaw. Since they narrowed it all and made it, put a little bike trail. Like that bike trail, you could run somebody over with that. Then they got the parking there. It's not good down there. It's too crowded.
And that's, could you imagine if we actually had a city with a real big press of people, different periods, like it'd be really more difficult. Another thing is, too, they have eliminated a lot of the one-way streets, which is just insane. And us just,
I know Grand Traverse tripped me out the first time that they had changed it, because when I come across Grand Traverse to Kersley, I used to always go all the way to the left because it's one way, and go down and get on the highway. I had to get over, jump right back over, because I forgot it was two ways. It took me a minute to get used to that being two ways. And I just thought I don't know what their thought was on changing all of those all of a sudden. And it's just like they randomly pick streets to mess up your mind.
Right. It's like, well, why would you do this? Because we wanted to.
Because we want to, and we can.
It's a third street. It looked pretty with a one-way sign on it.
Right.
I could never think about why they did that. Why they made those one-way streets that one-way street.
I know. And then if we get over to the Flint violence, it's just outrageous. That's one of those things that I just, every day, like somebody got shot and killed last night or early this morning, it seemed like somebody's getting killed every day.
Yeah, it's...
When we had the 11 killings in 10 days, that would seem like a record to me. And then the next day it started up again. I don't understand what is going on.
But you know what? I just said this on Facebook, though. Do you ever notice if you're out of town and somebody mentions the fact that you're from Flint, Michigan, the look of terror that people have? They give you, like, wide berth and you get away from it. I can enjoy that.
Right. When we went to Yale to the Bologna Festival, we was sitting up in this little bar, and the girl was like, well, where are you guys from? I said, oh, we from the murder capital. She's like, what? I said, we from Flint. She was like, oh. I said, well, they had us on the list as the murder capital.
Well, which I don't think is really fair, because there are towns there, like New Jersey, I think it's Newark, New Jersey or something. The violence there is much more intense. Okay, it really is. Well,
when you see like Drugs Inc., they showed like Baltimore was really bad for the drugs, and then of course Chicago was worse than us, and they talking about 85 killings, 300 killings, and you jump numbers like that. That's bad. But I guess for the population of Flint, and it used to be bigger, I guess when it was more jobs here, it wasn't as bad. But ever since the jobs left, the violence took over. And now it's just getting worse and worse.
Well, another thing is, too, I'm going to tell you, there were like stabbings and stuff back when the shops were going. They used to have, especially over by Buick, they used to have a lot of after-hours clubs.
Oh, yeah, those little hole in the walls.
Yeah, and there was a lot of violence done in there, but it wasn't reported because they pay the cops off, or the cops looked the other way, or they just didn't simply mention it. But I've heard of stabbings and stuff like that, and I had friends who were in the clubs telling me that people got stuck or something like that, and it was pretty bloody. I don't know if they died, but that wasn't ever counted.
Yeah.
It actually, the crime rate's probably higher, and I'm not trying to be mean, and I hope the city officials don't go off on me, but half the stuff, I had break-ins in my garage and stuff for just a couple of years ago. I don't even bother reporting it.
They just said the other day, the girl said it was 1,800 burglaries.
Yeah,
but you don't hear about those because those are low on the totem pole.
That's like basic.
And that's what this one policeman told me too. He said if your alarm goes off or you have a nuisance call or something like that, he said those are low on the totem pole. And he said, the murders and this kind of stuff, because when somebody called recently, they were over at another case and they couldn't even come. They was like, well, we at this other case. They called, So then the next day they show up and be like, oh, you had a call yesterday or whatever, and girl was like, well, I called you yesterday.
That happened a few years ago to my sister. It was something that was going on in the neighborhood. They called because some kind of it was like a potential for violence, and they wanted to stop that. So they called, and next day, nobody showed up. The next day they were in bed.
Yeah.
11 o'clock at night, heard a pounding on the door, and the cop said, did you call for us? And my sister goes, they had to think. I was like, wait a minute, that was yesterday, because we just got to dispatch. That was over 24 hours ago.
Yeah, and that's what they do now. It could be a couple days, because when your alarm goes off, it pretty much means nothing, because we don't have anybody. When I first moved over there, it was a lot of cops that used to come. They'd be Johnny on the spot. And now, even with the state troopers and stuff, they said home alarms and stuff like that. Those are low on the totem pole.
Yeah, basically,
everybody need to open carry.
Open carry. And people don't like to hear that, but I'll tell you what. Guess what? Cops got a better chance, no pun intended, of if they're coming to your house and they see somebody lurking about, they're going to probably try to. They don't know who's supposed to be there.
Right.
So they got a better chance of killing one of your family members than you do, because you know who's supposed to be there.
Especially if I come out the back door and it's dark, they'd be like, "Oh, pow! Oh, I'm sorry, you live here."
Let's face it. Everybody's scared, and the cops have this could probably cause people to get, but across the country, I mean, cops have seemed like lost their collective minds. They really have.
Well, they just, with all the people killing cops, this cop killing thing lately has been in the news, and it's like, the one the other day was an accident where the lady ran over the cop and drug him down the road. But then the other one, that filling up his car, got shot in the head. They said he shot like 15 times or something. And, what is going on with that? I know some of the cops are out of control, but when you just ambush one, he's just standing there filling up his car, and then you just come up and shoot him out. What is that?
I just think that people have got to back down. I mean,
something is going on in the water. It's the water.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's the lead. I just saw a report thing on Facebook. One of the things I'm on, the feeds I get. And it's like there's supposed to be an extraordinarily high lead content in our water, which kind of doesn't really shock me because I've been getting very forgetful lately. So maybe there is some truth to that.
Well, they was talking. I think that's probably what that group was talking about. The quality of the water. Something is going on still with the water. So, but I just think, you go back to the biblical days when they said we get into ends of time and everybody's going crazy. It's like everybody's in hysterics. All kind of stuff is happening, and stuff that's like unexplainable shit that's happening, like a Subway man and kid porno. I'm like, what's in his water? It's like too much stuff is going on.
We got too much availability of stuff. I mean, let's face it, years ago, if you like porn, you had to go to some place and you risked looking like you had to go into a seedy area probably, or a seedy, looking building to get porn. Nowadays, you click on the mouse.
It's on the internet.
It's right there.
You got to block. It's on your TV. It's everywhere. You got to block. You got to have parental control.
That's like, and I think it does. I mean, I'm not going to get self-righteous about it, but I mean, I think there's just the availability of it is just extraordinary. I mean, it's like, it's all over.
Yeah.
I mean, this one kid I was talking to the other day on the street, one of the neighbor kids, he's got Pornhub. I guess, it's a website for.
What?
It's got Pornhub, the app on his phone. Now, this kid's still in high school.
What?
And it's like, well, does your mom ever look at your phone? I mean, if I had a kid, and I would have them have a cell phone, but I mean, I would definitely have some parental controls on that. I also have the password and stuff. I'd have to have the password, especially that young.
Yeah.
Because let's face it,
you got to monitor your Facebook. You got to monitor everything.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, he's got the Pornhub app, and I think that might be you have to pay for. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, he's got the app on his phone. But he's
probably charging on his mama's credit card.
And this is not a well-to-do area. I mean, these people are struggling, and every kid in the family's got phones.
Got cell phones.
I mean, that's got to add up. I mean,
well, sometimes they'll get those track phones, but now a lot of kids are getting iPhones. The little boy down the street from me, 7 years old, he came down and told me, he was like, I finally got my phone. I said, what you need a phone for? He's like, I don't know, but I got one. I mean, see, I'm like, you are 7 years old. You don't need a phone. What you need a phone for? It's not like you're going to be left by yourself and you need to call somebody. Somebody got to be with you at all times.
Well, see, I like the idea of kids, like, when they're 10, 12 years old, having a phone. I think that's a great idea because I think that they get into something, they can call mom and dad, they can call the cops.
If they're home by themselves. Right. But, most time you don't want to think of a 7-year-old being left at home these days, because it's easy for them to get into something or somebody come in and... But like I told with him, with 7, I think 7 is too young.
Especially for an iPhone. Now I could see if they say one of the parents worked and the other one stayed at home, have one there in case he was going to his friend's house. You can just get one of those basic ones. Just maybe 40 minutes on or something like that.
The little track phones from Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, get one of those. I mean, just stand up. We used to have walkie-talkies when I was a kid. We used them primarily when we were camping. They had like a range of 2 miles, and they're expensive. These are huge ones back. They're old Midlands.
Now they're about this big.
Yeah, like 3 times the range.
Yeah.
But yeah, these were like, and we used to carry them with us when we went out a little bit because my parents had a base station back at the camp, and they used to have one set up there with a run off a car battery, and had they attached it to the car, the antenna on the car, and that
sounds wacky.
We were out in the rural area. I mean, we were like, it was 3 miles off the major road. This campground we used to go to was 3 miles off the campground, off the major road, and so. And by the time you got back in there, it was very narrow, and you had to wait for cars to pass you and stuff. Right. So you're way in the back. Mm-hmm. And Yeah, so we used to have them, because you never know. I mean, it was, thank God nothing had happened, but it was a possibility.
But these days, they're taking kids and grown people and everything. It's not just your kid's face on the milk carton anymore. It's grown people getting taken. Nobody's safe.
It's a scary country.
It's a scary world now.
It's a scary. I mean, I don't know if it's, and it is like that everywhere. I mean, I talked to people in the Philippines. They got really scary people living there.
Yeah. Well, they're everywhere. It's just you have to be more diligent, be careful, and whatever you can do.
Could you imagine if you're a kid? Could you imagine if your kid right now is like maybe 4 or 5 right now instead of in his mid-20s or late 20s?
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine it going? If you had to see him going up now in this very dangerous area, I don't know what you do. I mean, you couldn't be losing your hair because you pulled it out a while ago. But
I know, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, I'm scared. I mean, I see 15, 16-year-old kids, and I'm like, God, I thank God sometimes I don't have kids.
Yeah.
I'm so worried about them. I mean, these neighbor kids,
Yeah. So now President Obama is changing the name of Mount McKinley to Denali.
Denali, which was I've always knew both names, so I mean, I don't think it's big.
I remember hearing Mount Denali long time ago, but I also heard Mount McKinley, so I thought it was 2 different places.
No, I knew that it was the same name for the same mountain. And I'm not PC. I'm not politically correct. I mean, if the people who live there already had a name for it, why the hell can't you keep the name?
Who changed it? Who changed it from Denali? Oh, they changed McKinley after the president.
Yeah, the president. I think he was assassinated. So McKinley was assassinated. So.
Well, you don't have to name a whole mountain after. Did he get assassinated in Alaska?
I don't think he was even in power that long. I mean, he was like, I mean.
Where do you pick a place to name somebody?
I always puzzled by that. It's like, okay, the people's got a name for it. I mean, and you see that reflected. There's some places in Michigan that still got the Native Americans' names to it, like Menominee and Milwaukee. And Milwaukee, Milwaukee still is a variation of the original. I don't know why you got to feel the name to change it.
My whole subdivision is Indian names.
Yeah.
Cherokee, Comanche, Menominee, Shawnee.
Well, see, some people get mad about that. And I guess everybody can be offended by everything.
Because Flint Central, they were supposed to be changing it because it was the Reds, the Indians. Yeah.
I went to Central, and some people make that. It's like they shouldn't be naming it after the Native Americans. I think they're trying to say these guys are fighters and it's a good team. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I just think now we're going to have the Smurfs or something. I don't know.
I don't know what it is. Brandon got out in 2002, so I'm not worried anymore. He's been gone. It's like whatever they do with it, they do with it.
That building's closed. I mean, the whole school's closed. I mean, which is a tragedy.
It's been closed, but his friend was telling him I think next year they're supposed to combine 3 different schools into that one building. And so that'll be 3 more empty buildings.
Yeah, see, that building is the biggest.
It's a huge building. That's why I was surprised it closed, because I'm thinking, what are they going to do with it? It could be a massive apartment unit for seniors or something like that, or students, because it's right across from the library.
See, I think it would have been good for a lot of other things. I mean, I would like to see that develop into. I'd like to see Powers go in there. Before Powers
before they moved out. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the talk at one time. They were, and that would have been made sense. I mean, it has great parking. It's right by the library. It's by U of M.
Yeah.
I think it's a better choice. But actually, they got a great campus now, so I can't. I didn't even foresee the fact that the school for the deaf was actually basically they were changing that up and rebuilding a new.
Yeah, it looks nice on that corner.
Yeah, it's really nice there now. It really is. So, one got the benefit. The other ones now they can do something with Central though, and if they're going to be they're going to have to do massive renovations though. I mean, that place is outdated.
Well, it's been closed for a while too, so of course they'll have. Now, where are they going to get the money to renovate that?
Probably another bond issue or
raise some taxes or something, school millage or whatever.
Well, see, I figured I had a friend who taught at schools, and he always said that he didn't like Central because there was so many floors to it. And
that's what I didn't like, because when I had to go in for Brent, I had to find the elevator.
Yeah.
And it was just too much.
See, that was an issue for us. And we did have kids already, and were handicapped. They had chairs back when I graduated in 81, but there's only probably maybe 10, 15 kids, they were in chairs back then and stuff. So, I mean, or needed, so we had one guy who used to walk around with a helmet on because he also walked with the double crutches.
Right.
So, I mean, so he'd obviously use the elevator because it's like 3 floors over the major part of it, and I think there's a 4th floor.
Well, the back stairs, people come in the backside from the library, and it's just stairs.
Right.
You have to come in the front. You got to come up those steps first. There's no guardrail. It's like this place. How do you get in here?
It's
not handicapable. They need to renovate it and make it ADA approved.
Well, they could do that easily with the space over there. That, to ramp it. Where they have.
Yeah, they
have
need
the turns,
to do that because. I used to struggle to get in there. There would always be somebody sitting on the steps when I try to get in. I'd just be like, can y'all please just get off the steps?
But, I love going to that school, though. It was like I used to go to other people's schools, and it would look like, overgrown elementary schools, their high schools. I had friends who went to Ainsworth and stuff, and I laughed, it's like, okay. I went to a school that actually looked prestigious,
That's too funny.
But it actually had and for academics, you had, for the student body out of there, you had some very, very significant people coming out of there. So, I mean, it's a prestigious school. I mean, it was a good school to go to. It was a flagship, I think, of the school system here in Flint. So
I just wonder what was the purpose of having him change that name back to Denali.
I think it's probably trying to give a appeal to the Native Americans, the native of the Alaska, the Aleutian Islands and the Eskimos and all those people up there. I mean, it gets there's so many peoples. They're not all the same. We say Eskimos, but they're not all Eskimos.
Right.
There's different types of Indian tribes there, or native tribes.
Yeah, and it's so much space up there that's just uninhabited that it's crazy. Because I watch a couple different shows, and they always, like the ice road truckers, when they go through Alaska, they go across, they drive across frozen lakes and rivers, and then they got a new one called Power and Ice. They got these guys that some of them work on the pipeline, and then some of them work on the electrical lines, and it's always frozen. They're up so far, it's always frozen. Yes. And and then you see the few little houses scattered out there. So I just wondered what was that? It just popped up out of nowhere to me, just like, oh, he's going to change that back. It's like, okay, so what do you get for doing that? I mean, what's the purpose? You don't have anything else to do. I think you need to start printing money.
I think he just I don't know why he did that. It was out of the blue. I mean,
it was just out of the blue. Just like all of a sudden he just went to Hawaii for vacation. Now he's going to Alaska, and he's gonna do a ceremony to change the name.
I mean,
he's doing all that before he get out of office.
Yeah, I think it's like basically the last hurrah or something, because he's only got 14 months left or something.
But I don't understand what for.
I don't know. I mean, people are still going to call McKinley. Other people call Denali.
Yeah.
So
now we were talking earlier about who's going to be president, and like I said, I don't see anybody in the group that is worthwhile. And when we think of Trump, all I think of is The Apprentice and that hair of his. He's got people rubbing his head going, see, it's real, it's real.
Yeah, they make a big deal about that. I mean, and I have issues because you know what eminent domain is.
Yeah,
somebody
they just come in and take your property.
Yeah, well, they take your property. Well, he's got like New London, Connecticut. The people up there, the city officials up there, to stretch that beyond the imagination of what it was intended for to get him property for his development.
All his development.
And I have a real issue with that. But having said that, I like the fact he actually says, "I know politicians can be bought. I bought them." I like that. That's what he's essentially saying, and I mean that's honesty. You don't see amongst these other a-holes.
He busted out.
Yeah, I'm true and honest, and by golly, you should love me because
But then they'd be the first one to come up in a scandal.
Well, actually, I don't think he's going to. I think actually he's pretty much scandal-proof because let's face it.
No, I mean the guys that are saying I'm good and I'm this.
Yeah.
They're to be the first ones who, once you vote them in, then a scandal happens.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like they're on their wings. I mean they've already done crap that's already just sitting there waiting. It's festering. It's going to come to the head, when they're in office.
Well, they always dig up a lot of stuff when people start running for president. So they need to start, keeping their house in order all the time because shit always comes up.
Yeah, so,
always.
See, you never. I don't think there's a politician out there who isn't a dirtbag. I mean, I call them suit-wearing sociopaths because I mean, you notice they can lie and they can change they can be so genuine to every group they address, even though these people might be totally in opposition to one another. They can make them. They can make them feel like they're always on their side.
Well, what's funny too is the old bird that just got caught up with that Ashley Madison scandal. The old man.
Yeah.
He got the website. That's the website for people to cheat.
Right.
So his name come up because somebody hacked in and released all the names. And he's on there, I just made a mistake. He boo-hooing like this. And I'm saying, what?
Yeah, I think he's getting off easy because a lot of women are just, do a Lorena Bobbitt on him, but,
Well, I don't know, but I think he should be paying for that.
Well, see,
I mean, they should kick him out of his office or something. It's like the ones over there in Lapeer that just got busted. The guy and the girl over there. I mean, what's wrong with politicians? That's why I don't get into politics. I can't stand it.
Well, when I was a kid, my mom had a friend who ran for city council, and she didn't get a city council seat. She was a female. And she had been married for years and years and solid family. It was almost like boring. As soon as she got in the public eye, though, doing these public, she attracted a younger guy, and then she got divorced from her husband. He was like after retirement already. She got a settlement out of it, and then she's got this younger guy, and he ends up getting a good chunk of her cash on some lame brain business idea.
Right.
And now you got this older guy with the kids are all grown and stuff, so I mean they're not affected by it that much probably, but. It did break the family up, but I mean that's because politics is a dirty business. It's all about power. That's what it is.
And what I hate about politics and the politicians is none of them are broke. They're all rich.
Yeah, and then
so when they make decisions for the people that don't have any money, that's what pissed me off.
Well, yeah, it's like it's not going to cost you much. It's only another $5,000 a year.
Yeah,
it's like another $5,000 a year. You realize that I don't make that much.
Yeah, he got that much in his left pocket. It's like come on.
Oh, do you notice that these the congressmen? They only get paid like $170,000 a year. They're in there maybe 3 terms. They walk away and got $20-30 million. Where the hell is that money coming from? Where's that money coming from?
And the ones that get fired and they have to pay the balance of their contract, which would be $3, $4, $5 million.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what? Why should you get that money and you got fired? If I get fired, I'm not going to get any money. They going to fight me for unemployment. Now, how you going to just walk out because you got a contract? They should put that in the contract. If you get a scandal, if we had to fire your monkey butt, you get not a penny. So you better bank your money now.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
That's what they should do. There's no way. That's where all our money going because they still living high on the hog, even though they ain't got fired. They ain't been through scandals. Oh yeah, y'all still owe me money.
It's like, and when you get elected 1 or 2 terms, you got one term, you got a lifetime medical coverage.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
And it's like the ones, the president, they said, they getting $450,000 a year now, up from $200,000. But I guess they were saying, well, they get paid the rest of their life. And I'm like, for what? You already rich. Well, for what?
Well, I'd like to know this too. Everybody, the Clintons are everybody. A lot of people here because it's a Democrat stronghold. Oh, they care about us. They know what it's like. They know what it's like to struggle. They never struggled. I don't know. Can anybody tell me what job Bill actually ever had in his life? He never washed dishes. He never busted tables. He never mowed lawns.
He was all in politics.
He's always in politics
from a young age, and his autobiography is 900 damn pages.
Right.
I was like, what? Who's supposed to read this dictionary?
He was a political insider from the beginning, and why did they choose this man if he was just a person from Hope, Arkansas, who had no connections and no ability to be? He went to Harvard, not Harvard. He went to Oxford, and he went to all these top name schools.
But he was a hoe. He got caught. I mean, with Monica and the dress.
And he was like, yeah, that's his mark on history. It's on Monica's dress.
Yeah. Now Hillary, her scandal, she's like secret documents on her server. I mean, you can't do any better than that, Hillary. We want some real scandal.
Well, another thing is, too, a lot of these feminists think that she's such a strong individual. She's
only strong because she stayed with Bill.
That's exactly
Bill sleeps in the other room, and call it a day.
Well, I mean, but another thing is, too, she was kicked off the group that was supposed to be impeaching Nixon back in the 70s because of her unethical behavior, and she lied under oath. I mean, from the very beginning, from out of the gate, she was out of college soon after that, and she did this. And now some people say, I just want to see her elected because she deserves it because she's done so much. So what has she done? She was a terrible Secretary of State. I mean, I don't care if it's a D or R after the name. Just look at her track record. She doesn't deserve to become the president.
I don't think any of them in the running is. I think we should just go president-less.
Well, we could, because let's face it.
Let me go in there and make us some money.
Yeah, go print up some money.
Print up some money. I'm good with a printer.
Bring a printing press to Flint. I'll
be like, and you get some money, and you get some money. But be like Oprah passing it out.
Well, it's like what the people you ever realize it's basically the same. If you had the government's ability to put yourself out there to be in the power to deal with, why wouldn't your money be just as good as everybody else? If people are willing to take it for actions or duties or for goods and services, it serves its purpose. It's a fiat currency, which means it's basically issued out of air, so there's nothing to back it. Why couldn't anything any of us come up with, we just as consider as valuable. I mean,
well, if we could just cut up newspaper and use it, what the hell? I'll trade you this comic strip for that.
Well, some countries and some cultures, it's like
give me
leaves.
A goat.
Leaves, goats, shells, seashells. I mean, cowrie shells or something like that.
Oh, that's too funny. But then now we got to think about in 2020 Kanye being president.
Oh God! I thought he was supposed to leave the United States because they're so racist.
Yeah.
He hasn't even kept the promise. Don't give it to him.
No, he's still here making babies.
Yeah. So don't give him the job because he can't even keep that promise.
He said, "Everybody get a new pair of Yeezy tennis shoes."
I hope this guy's joking because I mean he'd actually get votes. So you got the hip hop crowd out there to like him.
It would make no sense at all. It would not make any sense at all. Can you imagine partying in the White House? I mean, it'd be like a party.
But then again, I look at the people we've had in office and the scandals that we don't hear about. That's probably the work.
Those Secret Servicemen and the hoes. That was too funny. They hit it twice. They got busted out twice. I was like, y'all didn't learn the first time?
They're not so secret,
then a second batch of them got caught. I was like, that's what Secret Service people do.
Right.
Because the president was in Alaska now, and this one girl that from here moved to Alaska, and so she had posted pictures of being outside, and there was a Secret Service guy standing by her, and I was like, okay, what have you done now? And then you see the presidential limo go by, and she said, the president waved at me. And so they was like, well, how do you know that wasn't a decoy? It's like, unless you see Barack, if he's standing up in the top waving, then it's him.
Yeah,
But I just like when Kanye said that, I was like, drop the mic, walk off the stage, it's over.
I was like, was he drunk again?
I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know. I mean, he gonna have a little baby making machine over there. Kim, once she figured out she can get pregnant, it's on.
Well, look what the Jenners did. Look what the Kardashians did to Bruce Jenner and all the family. What they're gonna do to Kanye West? That's gonna be kind of fun to see.
Well, Tiger too.
Oh yeah.
They would talk about that on who was it? All the comedians were cracking up about that. They were saying what the Kardashians, those women over there, look what they do to the men. They said Scott Disick is a drunk and Bruce is a girl and Rob is big. They were just cracking on them. I was like, oh man, it was like Jimmy Kimmel and Conan, all of them. They was cracking on them bad.
I wish we knew we were riff on that because I would have got this cartoon. It was like there's a picture of Bruce Jenner on a couch, and then there's a Rottweiler in the foreground, and the dogs look like, I'm confused. I keep smelling balls, and I thought it was so funny.
I guess she's supposed to be getting a butt lift now. I had seen that in this week's Star.
How the hell is that considered heroic, though?
That she's supposed to be getting a butt lift. Well, that's what a lot of people were saying. No, that's still there, as far as we know.
So this guy's basically.
They were saying that because it was Arthur Ashe, she shouldn't have gotten that award. I mean, she'd get another Courage Award, but it shouldn't be the Arthur Ashe Award.
No, I mean. Arthur Ashe was a significant
in the face.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He was a great athlete. He was a great person. I mean.
And so then they said if the Olympics come to L.A., that they're going to have her run the torch. They was like, that would be their first pick. It reminds me of the King song, "Girls Will Be Boys and Boys Will Be Girls." It's a mixed up, crazy world. It's pretty weird. So, anyways, we had our fun today, Johnny.
Yeah.
Just want to remind everybody, my old book is still available.
Your old book?
My old book. My number one book is still available. But now I'm on my second book, which is going to be like a guide to help people with special needs kids.
Oh, that's good.
Because that's all I know. And my mom, or I should say the lady that I call my mom, has a bunch of special needs kids. And it was her idea for my second book, because she's like, well, as a single mom and you've done all this by yourself, I think you would be good to help people that certain things you don't know and they don't tell you, I've had to navigate through and find out the answer. So that's what the second book is about, and that's what I'm working on now that I finished my school and everything else. So anyways, for the two people that tuned in today, I'm gonna quit joking. Everybody, I want you to have a good day, because we had to do this hot topic today because I just thought it was too much stuff going on that we couldn't just come in and say something about.
I agree. Because
it's a lot. I mean, I started making a list and I was like getting ready to do a second page. I was like, hold up.
Well, we just can't make this stuff up either.
Can't make it up. Can't make it up. So anyways, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today, and I'll be back. I'm not sure yet, but I shall return. So it's Flaminpit, and we out.